Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on the Elseworlds crossover. So some stuff regarding Flash Season 5, Arrow Season 7, and of course, Supergirl Season 4. So there's been some pretty cool stuff released. They are actually in the last week of filming for this crossover, so this filming for the crossover has gone pretty quick. But yeah, they're in the last week of filming, so I don't think we'll get too much more stuff coming out from it, but who knows what they'll chime out. We might get I don't know, maybe a sneak peek trailer, maybe. I wouldn't expect that for another couple of weeks, but who knows what they'll drop, because to be honest, they've been dropping a lot in regards to like social media stuff from the actors and even just the actual accounts from the shows. The first thing I do want to talk about in this video, we are going to go over a couple of things, but the first thing I want to point out or talk about is this official first look from Entertainment Weekly, I think it was, of the monitor for the crossover. So we saw a set photo, I think it was from Canada Graphs who posted it, where you got to sort of see like the top half of his suit and sort of like his head makeup and stuff like that, and he looked really cool in that photo. But man, does he look even cooler in this photo. So this is comic accurate as hell. It's really cool to see this. We already knew from the set photo he was comic accurate, but seeing it in like this photoshopped and like more stylized way is awesome to see. Now there is some stuff in the background which is interesting, but we will come back to that later on. But yeah, just like looking at this photo right now, just seeing the outfit and stuff, it's really high quality and stuff, and it makes you think, would they make a suit this high quality just for this crossover? They might leave it for another time to show up as well, but I'm liking the look of it. I think it looks really cool, and who knows what else they might show in regards to exclusive first looks, because these crossovers are a big thing. This season, this one's probably been the most talked about one, not just because of, the Monitor coming in or even like the black suit Superman, but, we have Batwoman coming in there, and it just looks like they're doing something crazy. And just the fact that it's Elseworlds has a lot of comic fans, buzzing and getting pretty damn excited. And also the possibility of another storyline forming shape within this crossover for possibly next season's crossover. But we will talk about that later on in the video. But let's jump into some set photos from Canada Graphs. Now, I can only show 4 of his set photos in this video, but he's taken a bunch. There's heaps there on his page that I have not put in this video. Like, I think there's 20 plus. There's heaps of photos, so I will leave the link to his blog in the description down below if you want to go check all of them out. Go check them out, show some support. There's heaps there that I have not shown in this video. But let's start off. So the first one I want to show you is of Supergirl, Superman, The Flash, and Black Suit Superman, and we'll come back to who Black Suit Superman most likely is later on this video. But we can see them standing in front of this, the House of El, if you want to call it, like the Superman or Supergirl symbol. And what the hell's going on here? This is pretty damn interesting, because I think this is the first scene we're seeing on set photos where we have the normal Superman and Black Suit Superman. Now, there have been set photos where there was like Superman in a fight. He was versing Black Suit Superman in those fights, but obviously, they've got to have the real actor play Superman. So these are just going to be like a stunt double playing the Superman, as you can see here. Like Tyler Hoechlin, who plays Clark Kent or Superman, is playing the black suited version in these set photos. But as we can see here, he does have the Flash or Barry Allen in a headlock without his mask on, which is pretty interesting. Now, it doesn't really show it in this set photo right here, but Barry does have like a mark on his face. You might be able to see it. I highly doubt you would. Like, you have to really look close to the photo. If you go to Canada Graphs, site, you should be able to zoom in. You can even see, I think, him getting makeup put on as well. But he does have like a cut or something on his right side on his cheek. But he is being held there. We do have Green Arrow firing, or at least loading an arrow or pulling back an arrow, threatening to launch it towards Black Suit Superman. But it's also important to remember that we do see the normal Superman with that book. Now, this book is a big quizzical item. It's a big quizzical item that a lot of people have been talking about, wondering what's going on there with it. But it almost does seem like they're casting or trying to reverse whatever Black Suit Superman did with this book, because there were other set photos where it was just the black suited Superman using this book. No one was really around him, and he was looking up as if he was casting a spell or some sort of ritual or something like that. So it does seem that in this scene, they're trying to reverse that or something. And as I was saying before, the Flash has his mask off, so does Green Arrow. Green Arrow doesn't have his mask on, so it's almost like, screw identities or secret identities. I'm Oliver Queen and I'm Barry Allen. But as I was saying, we do have that book there that's being held by Superman, and you can see here they are very, 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 very reminiscent of the Speed Force symbols that we saw last season on The Flash. But we will jump into more about them in a second. Now, Canada Graphs did give like a detailed description as to what was going on because he was there. He was able to actually like listen as to what they were saying on set. So this is his like a detailed description of what went down. The scenes shooting were at a place very similar to Arrowverse fans, that being the exterior location for Star Labs on the Flash. So that's the one. This whole scene is taking place outside of the place where it's usually Star Labs. But at this time, it didn't have the usual Star Labs items around it. Instead, it had a big Superman/Supergirl logo in front of it. Today's scene saw Melissa Benoist as Supergirl, along with Tyler Hoechlin and his stunt double as Superman and an alternate Superman, Grant Gustin as the Flash, and Stephen Amell as Green Arrow, shooting a scene where the alternate Superman seems to take the Flash as a hostage temporarily, while Superman is reading from a book that seems to have all the symbols in it we previously had seen featured in episodes of The Flash. So obviously he's referring to the quote-unquote Speed Force symbols, which we've been calling them. Obviously, we don't necessarily know 100% they're connected to the Speed Force. We just know that, Barry was riding them after coming out of the Speed Force. Nora Allen was riding them. Sure, DeVoe was riding them, but he was sort of like tied in with the Flash. So who knows what this language is? You would have to think we will finally 100% find out in this crossover what all of it is. But in regards to this area where we have like the big Supergirl or Superman logo, in the comics there is a Superman museum. Like obviously on the Flash this season we've seen that Star Labs basically gets turned into the Flash Museum. So it would be like logical that maybe on some Earth there is a Supergirl or Superman museum and that logo is at the front of it. I don't think that would do that. The Superman Museum I just don't think would fit this. So I don't think that's actually what's going on here, but I thought it'd be worth the mention. But Canada Graphs goes on to continue and say this. Black Superman takes Barry hostage briefly, then when Oliver moves in on him with his bow drawn, Barry tells Oliver not to attack. Then Black Superman lets Barry go, then claps his hands together. Now that's a big reference point which we will come back to later on. A huge boom goes off that creates an explosion behind that glass Superman emblem. He then goes, steals the book from the other Superman, and flies away. So in regards to that book, we'll go back to that photo from the Monitor. Now, Monitor has that book that Superman was holding and that the Black Superman or Black Suit Superman, might I say, took away in those photos. So you would have to think that the Monitor is like the original owner of the book, or at least the one who had it in his possession, and the Black Suit Superman has taken it away from him. Now, I guess the big question that comes from that is like whether that's the reason that the Monitor comes to Earth because Black Suit Superman took that, or whether it's just that Monitor came to Earth for another reason, which we'll jump into in a second, and Black Suit Superman just goes, oh, okay, this is a chance, and he takes it and uses it for his own means, or maybe someone else recruits Black Suit Superman and wants him to take it for their means. Now, in regards to those symbols, as I was saying before, people have been calling them, Speed Force symbols. Now, they did resemble some Kryptonian symbols, but I remember like there being like a detailed breakdown from someone proving that they were indeed something else. Kryptonian looks sort of similar, but it is different. So you wouldn't think that they're Kryptonian symbols. However, the fact that Black Suit Superman is using them and reading them, and also normal Superman's using them and reading them in various photos, you maybe could twist it and say that maybe it's the Arrowverse's version of Kryptonian, but we'll have to wait and see. Now, this was for the Supergirl portion of the crossover. That is an important thing to say because the Supergirl portion of the crossover is the last episode of that 3-part crossover. So this would have to be a pretty big moment as we would be heading into the finale of the event. Now, I think there was another scene filmed for the Supergirl portion that had Martian Manhunter and Brainiac 5 involved, as well as Lois Lane. So I think this last portion is going to be action-packed, like basically everything just built up to this just going like haywire and just everything going off. But let's go back to that Monitor photo. So obviously we can see Earth's exploding in the background, which I'm guessing everyone would assume is going to mean Crisis on Infinite Earths, or at least setting that up, which it possibly could be doing. So Superman in this the black suited Superman in this crossover, I've said this in a couple of videos, but I'm pretty damn sure that this black suit Superman is going to be Superman Prime, who is obviously like the older version of Superboy Prime. And if you're familiar with the comics, Superboy Prime is extremely OP, so imagine Superman Prime. And the bit that Canada Graphs was saying where Superman, the black suit Superman claps his hands together and creates like a boom. Sure, we saw Supergirl do that in last year's crossover in like a small way where like it created like a sonic thing almost and all the glass shattered. In the comics, like Superboy Prime does that, like claps his hands together and it can like shift and destroy Earths if he does it hard enough. So I wonder if they're going to do that in this crossover. Because the thing that they could do is maybe not do full Crisis on Infinite Earths. Like definitely set it up for next season, which would be awesome. But what they could do is maybe have Black Suit Superman destroy maybe an Earth or two, and maybe an Earth we're familiar with. That could be exactly what they're going to do this crossover. Because I would like if this crossover had stakes, and I'd like to see them fail in some way, where it just shows the threat level. Because we're starting to bring in like intergalactical like powerhouses, and it almost seems like almost unbelievable that they would be able to stop everything. You'd have to think there are going to be some casualties, and maybe a whole Earth or maybe a couple of Earths could be casualties in the case of this. Because the whole point of the Monitor in the comics is that he comes to Earth before the Crisis on Infinite Earths events, essentially, and tries to recruit a team to sort of go against the Anti-Monitor, with a team consisting both heroes and villains. So, and what he does is also he goes across different Earths, like over the multiverse. He doesn't just go to like Earth 1. He'll go to like various Earths. So that could be what we're seeing in this Elseworlds crossover. So he's like basically putting together like a ragtag, not even a ragtag team, but like just a team of heroes and villains from various Earths. And that's maybe how like Batwoman gets brought into it as well. It's going to be interesting to see how they bring it all together, because I think a lot of people are still confused about how it's all going to be set up. But with the Monitor, like, he could just be a background character in the entire crossover, and it is basically him just monitoring, literally, and just looking out for candidates, for people he would want to put on his team to go up against the Anti-Monitor in, let's say, next season's crossover, which could be their take on Crisis on Infinite Earths. I don't know if they'd call it Crisis on Infinite Earths. They could literally just call it Crisis if they wanted to. I think that would be the best name for it, to be completely honest. So they can change maybe some story elements so people don't get triggered by them calling it Crisis on Infinite Earths. Maybe like the Flash did in Season 3 with Flashpoint. But man, there's a lot of potential here. I don't know, like really the fact that they're bringing in the Monitor shows that they want to do something. Like really they could have just left him out of this crossover if they wanted to. But the fact that they brought him in just makes you think, okay, they're definitely going to do Crisis on Infinite Earths either next season or maybe even in this crossover. Personally, I wouldn't want them to do it in this crossover just because it looks like there's too much going on already. But if they did, I don't think I'd be too mad because it'd still be pretty awesome to see. But in regards to the end of this crossover, they could tease at Anti-Monitor. Like we could actually see our first look at Anti-Monitor as almost like a cliffhanger for this crossover, which would be pretty damn sick. Like that would be amazing. I think everyone would just lose their minds if we just saw Anti-Monitor there in all his glory and however the CW is going to portray him. I think that would be insane. And I think a lot of people would be happy if they had that. I'm sure through this crossover, the Monitor will reference Anti-Monitor. Maybe not by name, but definitely just reference him. And if you're watching, you should get the hint that that's who he's referencing to or referring to. But, you know, there's still time until this crossover airs. But man, the more and more I see of it, the more and more I get hyped. And I just cannot wait. But thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on the video to show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions on the stuff we looked in this video. What are you looking forward to the most? What do you think of the Monitor in his first look? What do you think of all of that? Let me know in the comment section down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. I'll catch you later, guys. Goodbye.